Hello, thanks for joining me, astrologer Patrick Arundell, for your April monthly horoscope for the Sun or the Ascendant. If you've yet to subscribe to our channel, we'd be delighted if you did so now. Please click or tap on the bell notification symbol. If you've got some big things going on in your life and you'd like some expert guidance, why not check out my one-to-one testimonials by seeing the link below. It's one of the most enriching parts of my work, working in this way. If you'd like to ascend above your zodiac sign in an affordable way and find out more about what really makes you tick, please check out my personal horoscope reports. There's a special offer on a year's forecast and also a character analysis, 30% off. Please see the link below. Hello Gemini, and welcome to your in-depth monthly horoscope for April. A truly exciting month lays in store for you because as this month begins, Mars, the planet of drive, the planet of impulse, the planet of desire, is in your sign and will be through to the 22nd. This can give you a real urgency. It can give you an impact. It can make you want to live in the here and now. So it's great for action. It can give you a real sense of purposefulness. It's much less about analysing things, it's much more about getting on and doing them. Now, Mars forges some glorious links this month and also some more challenging ones, as is often the case with astrology, and we have to apply some weight in. But I just want to tell you that the Sun and Venus are together in your sector of the future, friendships, group associations, as this month begins, in the sign of Aries, which of course is governed by Mars. So all of this has a much brighter, more glorious patina, if you like, than you've experienced for some while, because obviously that horrendous right angle between the North Node in your sign and Neptune that went on from the end of October in a precise sense to about the 6th of January, but it actually went on through about the first 2.5 months of this year. And that has been very underwhelming. And then, of course, you had Mars and also Uranus in your 12th house. And that too was proving a drag. And then Mercury in retrograde in the sign of Aquarius and go through shadow periods meant that anything you were trying to expand just seemed to really be like walking through a field of glue. But having the Sun and Venus in the sign of Aries is not the end of your good news story, because on the 4th, Mercury, your fantastically fleet-footed ruler, moves into Aries too. Now, Mercury doesn't like being in Pisces, where it had been for the previous 21 days, but it loves being in Aries because its energy is liberated. The wateriness of Pisces takes the edge off the clarity of thought that Mercury has in Gemini, and the clarity of purpose that it has in the sign of Virgo, both of which it rules. So having Mercury move into Aries just gives you much more traction in terms of future plans, your friendships, the way you interact with people. And you could find yourself taking a leading role, because in the first 10 days of this month, Venus and Mars are in a fabulous alliance. There could even be someone in your friendship circle, or who's introduced by a friend or a friend of a friend, or through a shared interest, who really makes your pulse race. It can be that good. What's not to like? Well, it is true to say that Mars is in a more complex link with Neptune from the 4th through to the 14th. Neptune's a very underestimated tricky player, you know. A lot of people obviously focus on Saturn and Pluto, and understandably on Uranus, because for you it's in your 12th house. It's still all through this month in a collision, a 90-degree abrasive right angle with Saturn, and that could still be creating tension, stuff that is psychological, hard to get out into the open, differences of opinion. People have very profoundly different opinions to you. That is going to continue to be a potential strain on your emotional and also nervous system resources. So Neptune doesn't usually get much coverage, but oh my word, it's in your sector of how you work, who you work with. Neptune, if you're a compassionate person, if you work in nursing, in caring, you're a healer, you're a therapist, you are working in counselling, you work in the spiritual dimension, absolutely fantastic in the sign of Pisces for you, because remember, it governs that sign. But the square with Mars means that somebody that you encounter in the world of work or in the world of the wider populace could have a tendency to pour cold water on that storm of enthusiasm that you're creating in the early parts of this month. Absolutely refuse to let anyone in any way at all see you doubt yourself. You must have maximum self-faith, because Mars can be so dynamic for you, but in its square with Neptune, it could soak up your energy if you're working in a job which doesn't really inspire you. It doesn't give you the opportunity to help and assist people in the way that you would like, or if you can't express your individuality, that too can be an energy drag on you. But the Aries new moon, which occurs on the 12th, ordinarily would be absolutely superb for you. And I'm not saying this one is going to be necessarily bad, but it is in a square with Pluto. And Pluto, like Neptune, is a complex influence. Pluto for you is in the part of your horoscope that's to do with what you share. It's to do with long-term money. It's to do with business. It's to do with where you're most invested. It can be to do with sex, and it can be to do with very, very close bonds. Now, that could be in a professional business sense, or it could be on a personal one. So having the sun in the new moon, alongside the moon, in the noble 11th house for you, makes you idealistic. The reality of your situation is anchored through the energies of Pluto. And then it has the same impact on week 2 when Venus squares up with Pluto, and Venus is in that sector of friendship and higher ideals. So what I would say is, with Neptune squaring Mars, Pluto squaring the new moon, Pluto squaring Venus, don't be too idealistic. You have to be realistic about what life is like these days. You know, big companies don't have the same control over things that they used to do, because the e-economy, the digital economy, the big players have so much power over all of us. So if you feel that you're in a situation where your idealism is being pulverized by pragmatism, then maybe you need to look at it. If it's the other way around, where you're just protecting your income and doing something that totally has no emotional uplift for you at all, look at it. And what's going to help you is that in weeks 2 and 3, Venus and the Sun and Mars are forging an awesome alliance. And this is going to give you the drive to move forwards. If something has been a bit tricky, someone's told you something that's not true, you're not quite sure, is there too much politics, is someone being a bit possessive around a friendship, what week 2 and 3 can do is see you cut through all of this with tremendous determination, willpower and desire and dynamism to go for what you really want. And that can be really very cathartic. However, it is true that from the 14th of this month, your chart does take on a more psychological dimension, because Venus moves into your 12th solar house. And if there is a relationship which has been bumping along the bottom, it doesn't matter if it's been for 4 weeks, 4 years, 40 years, and you're not really fulfilled by it, you're going to be asking some searching questions before the end of this month. But equally, somebody could come into your life who's linked to your past, and it could be someone that you had quite a hot connection with in the past, but for whatever reason it didn't work out. But with the Sun and Mercury, your ruler, moving on the 19th into the sign of Taurus, joining up with Venus, and of course with Uranus, you have a lot of energy in your 12th house. And, you know, because all 3 planets, the Sun's a luminary, we call it a planet for the ease of comment, well, what they're going to do is electrify your past, electrify your subconscious, electrify the stuff that's been bubbling away in the depths of your being. So it could be that you're going to get in contact with parts of your own subconscious that you're not quite conscious of in today. And Patrick, what are you talking about? I got it. But then something can come up from nowhere, and it could be linked to a past hurt, upset, trauma, or it could be linked to someone you used to work with, or you used to go out with, or you used to fancy. And you may be amazed by how clear the picture is. And it's all because of the electricity of Uranus, and it can bring this image, this person, this situation to life in a very vivid way, very, very quickly. But on the 23rd, Mars moves into Cancer, which can be fantastic for your resources. Technically, Mars isn't at its best here, but for you, the following 6 weeks can really see you desirous of improving your financial position, being a bit more determined about asking for what you really need. And it's possible that your desire side, whether it is for good food, good wine, home cooked stuff, very second housey for you, or it is intimacy, is going to be ramped up. And that takes us back into that subconscious, which is going to really be lit up in your situation in the last 10 days of this month. The 27th sees a full moon, the deep and passionate sign of Scorpio, but the moon is opposing the sun, which is very close to Uranus. So I think that when it comes to work, someone who you may have thought was pretty much on side with you may reveal their hand in the following 2 weeks, but they won't necessarily do it in a way that you're expecting. You may hear through a third party. Unfortunately, Scorpio for you is in the 6th house of practicalities, but the sun's in the 12th house of secret enemies. So don't take anything for granted around your professional situation. Also, when it comes to balancing your emotional, physical and spiritual health, because you are an air sign and therefore work through the prism of communication and your intellect, which is one of the things that makes you so brilliant and quick-witted and witty, I think this particular full moon is asking you to embrace some truths of your situation, and there may be some psychological truths about your weaknesses, your vulnerabilities, your anxieties that you may be reluctant to embrace. But if you have been feeling on edge, and not every Gemini person has been, but I do think quite a few have been feeling on edge this year because of having Mars squaring up the group of planets in Aquarius, and of course that long-standing right angle between Uranus and Saturn, which is going to go on the first 6 months of this year, or first half part of this year, last 5 weeks. So I think for you there is a fabulous opportunity to use the energy of Mars, the energy of the Sun, particularly across weeks 2 and 3, to set your sights, to go for it, but just be aware that around work or finances or close involvements, there could be some illusion or there could be some politics, but equally a separation may be possible in a situation that just has literally run its course, especially if you've tried very, very hard to make it work, or you could find yourself connected to a secret dalliance, alliance, some kind of involvement that's clandestine, or maybe someone from your past is going to come up into your situation. But at the very end of the month, just be conscious of the politics around your work situation. For now, stay safe, take care, and goodbye.